Uh, Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host
Chip,
Chip.
what's
What is
up?
going on, man? Great to see you again. It's only been 23 hours. Man, today we're going to talk about Ripple XRP because you know what? 214 million XRP is never enough, but that 214 million is significant and meaningful because there's something moving around Asia, and we got to go check that out and see what that's all about. But I'll tell you what, it's amazing.
It's
It's
gonna be.
great. And it's going to be insane. You ready to
Let's
get started?
do it.
Do it.
Welcome to On the Chain with Jeff and Chip.
Audio check. What is going on? Man, it's good to be back. It's good to be back here in the studio with the On the Chain community. As always, the brightest place in the house, the brightest place on YouTube is in the chat. Tell you
It
what.
sure is. And then tell us where you're from. Put your city, put your country, and put your planet, just in case.
Mhm.
Just in case we have anybody coming in from other places. You never know, Jeff. It's all possible.
You
But
never know.
there's a lot of you're right. It's a big news. A lot of news we want to talk about. I mean, there's some really good
Oh, yeah.
stuff that we're going to jump into today. Like, for example, Ripple making some moves over in Europe, hiring some pretty good talent over there, which we'll jump into. And then some more sponsorship, getting into the racing category.
Formula One.
Formula One.
Let's do it.
We first saw it over there with NASCAR. Now we're seeing it with Formula One. So starting to get in there. But I think we would start. Let's start with this one first, Jeff. This one is pretty exciting. I always like when Ripple hires somebody of a really strong background. But this is Ripple welcoming Cindy Young as the managing director of Europe, deepening the leadership bench with the powerhouse payments exec. And so, if you guys don't know, she's formerly she spent a 5-year tenure at MasterCard. She had leadership roles driving strategy, commercialization, bank fintech partnerships, banking developments, and most recently, she led the fintech and digital strategy segment for MasterCard's data and services. So
Big news.
yeah, and she kind of says, and she's
Really.
done a lot too. I mean, if you look at this, well, here's what I thought was pretty funny because of her role. She says, "This is my first tweet in years," is a good one. After 15 years in traditional financial institutions, I've joined industry leader Ripple
Wow.
as the managing director of Europe. Making the jump into crypto was a no-brainer. This tech is driving the future of finance, and I'm excited to get started.
Yo, I tell you what, the one thing about Ripple is the caliber of people that they've attracted on a global scale. So all of this, discussion over what's going on with the SEC, v Ripple, the whole discussion over XRP, whether it's a security or not from 8 years ago, when you go and you zoom out, pan out around the world, because again, crypto is a global phenomenon. We'd like to, talk about the microcosm right here in the US, because it's important to us. But when you pull back and you see what's going on and what Ripple is doing, we're going to get into a lot more of that because it's outstanding. But to pull people like that, it's all telling. It really is.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then we have Lucas coming in here from good old Berlin,
From
Germany.
Berlin. Man, you've been there too, right?
Mars, Pennsylvania. There we go. It's Mars. Yeah. I've not been to Germany ever.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I've been to Poland.
Hmm.
It's about as close as I got to Germany. Poland. That's about it. Never made it to Germany. I was close to going a couple times, but no, I never made it there. So let's continue on this. So here's Cindy Young. This is her LinkedIn profile. Let's take a look a little bit about it. So she's experienced in building and leading high-performing teams, developing and executing strategy, sales, and business development with a track record of achieving, here's what I like right here, ambitious targets. Those targets are just out of reach, but you're nailing them.
I like ambitious targets.
Jeff, we need to have more ambitious targets, right?
We definitely need, we have to get some Completely ambitious target.
$1,000 XRP ambitious target right there. Driving growth. So she just comes with a wealth of experience. She's a member of the
Nice.
30% Club, Women on the Wharf, Envision, and UK Business Mentor Volunteer. She holds a dual UK and EU nationality.
Interesting.
And there it is
I'm
right
not
there.
familiar with that. What is the 30% club?
I don't know. Someone's got to look it up. I don't know what that means. Well, it's probably one of the club that you guys put it, go to see if you guys can find out. Go ahead and see what you guys can find.
Probably has nothing to do with the Mile High Club. So it's probably a whole.
I don't believe it does, Jeff. I think it's a 30% club's got to be something. I don't know. It's probably some volunteer organization. Yep. She did a bunch of public speaking for the last 2.5 years. You can see on the very top of the profile, she had her, and then right there it is. MasterCard Data Services, right? Digital and FinTech segment, global lead. She did that about 6 months. Startup Partnership Solutions, Innovation Consulting.
Nice.
VP of Data Services Sales, UK and I don't know, was Ireland maybe? I don't know, UK and I don't know what that is. And so she's got some strong. She spent a little over almost 4 years at Alix Partners and doing some management consulting. Then again, is the international manager of HSBC. So Jeff, she has it all. She's got banking. She's got the fintech with the MasterCard side, payments, dealing with the payment realm. It's pretty exciting.
Nice. I want to give a shout out to Big Homie Roach.
Big Homie Roach. Big shout out. Yeah, another OG. He's also spent some time doing, so she kind of does a little consulting, works somewhere for a while, a little bit of consulting. She was a senior consultant with Bates White for about a little over a year over in Washington, D.C. So she's got a little bit of that operational stuff there too. Research associates at NERA Economic Consulting in Boston, Mass.
Tell you what, she's hired.
She's hired. She's got a great background. And look at this. This was all achieved in 15 years. She started out as a intern, believe it or not. There's someone always has Morgan Stanley or one of the big banks somehow on their resume. But it's pretty exciting stuff. I mean, I think she's going to be a great fit.
And what was her role again?
She's the managing director of Europe. So yeah,
right.
so she'll be.
So obviously, Ripple's not going away. Obviously, Ripple has bigger plans, bigger aspirations, bigger ambitions.
Did I also mention she was a graduate of Harvard Business School? But I didn't mention that. Yeah, also there too as well. So she's got some solid experience. And
apparently, Devon doesn't know the 30% thing either.
Does anybody know what the 30% club is? Let me see. 30. I'm gonna have to Google this. I don't know what that means.
Oh, somebody put it up there. Wait a minute. Someone said it's a gender diversity club.
That's exactly what it is.
All right. Well, now we know.
There you go.
Was that
that's exactly what it is. Growth through diversity. That's what it is. Member of the club. I think I'm a member of the 70% club, which is the other side of that. I don't know what that means exactly, but there you go. But again, great talent. Here it is right here, Jesse. 30% club.
All right.
You can see you can only see 30% of the tree is actually shaded in there.
Oh, is that what that is? Oh, I get it. Apparently.
Yeah, it represents all women on board. So part of it talks about, diversity with women, hiring women, being part of the C-suite, which has pretty much been lacking, not only the stateside, but also globally, activate chairs and CEOs, influence, enable future women leaders. So it's a diversity with, dealing with women, especially in leadership roles.
Is Ripple somehow involved in it?
I don't think, well, I think they are now. I mean, they just hired a phenomenal talent. So
interesting.
But it talks about being more. Say that again.
So do you think they use Bitcoin?
No, not at all. No. Never. No, of course. No, not a chance. It says Cindy's appointment represents a huge opportunity for our European operations, giving her leadership experience. Let me throw that back up there. Deep understanding of the payments landscape and knowledge of how to grow and scale a network business. Said Ashish Burla, GM of RippleNet. And I think that's the key thing right there. Those ambitious sort of goals and reaching and hitting them, scaling a business. I mean, that's exactly why she's there. They see Europe as another big opportunity. RippleNet continues to scale in Europe with a 250% ODL growth.
That's pretty big. That's big. You know, what is the one thing that we talk about? And I think that's probably out of this whole article, that's probably the most significant is 250% growth in ODL, which is the on-demand liquidity. That ODL is the game changer. That's what Ripple brings to the table. That's what RippleNet represents. RippleNet on its own is just a competitor with every other messaging platform that's going to come to fruition. It's going to compete with Swift. It might do it a little bit better, might do it a little bit faster, but it's not a game changer. It doesn't do anything drastically like, oh my God, we gotta migrate. It's the ODL, my opinion, that changes everything. It revolutionizes the method of settlement. Swift doesn't settle anything. Swift is just messaging. And with the RippleNet, the full solution with the ODL, get rid of the Nostro Vostros, allow for complete settlement, allow for almost instant settlement. Swift doesn't even touch that. You'd have to go through third parties in order to make that happen. So that statement right there, Chip, 250% growth in ODL over in Europe, in the European market. That's big. That's big news, as far as I'm concerned.
I think it is too. And, I think also too, the fact that, Ripple's ISO 20022 compatible, because that's really the new sort of messaging system and how it can reconcile and do a lot more stuff. The regular messaging system was like a fax machine. It was like, or some sort of a data challenge,
Yeah, by the way, Catherine made it on tonight.
Thank you, Catherine McKellen. Thank
Good
you for
shout out
coming.
to Catherine.
So, but one of the things that they highlight, and this is what I like about that, they take advantage of kind of highlighting some of the organizations. They say Europe continues to provide strong momentum for RippleNet for both new and existing customers. You got UK-based payments company and new RippleNet customer, Paydeck, partner with Ripple to develop what, Jeff? Real-time cross-border payments into Africa to meet the demand of its customers. Then you got Xbot, which is a remittance company based out of Sweden. They use RippleNet to send what else? Cross-border payments into Thailand. Since launching,
Nice.
Xbot has migrated the majority of its flows to RippleNet to send its payments instantly. And then this one, Lemonway, which provides payment solutions for online marketplaces. Turn to RippleNet to address. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't have the same meaning what a lemon is here, but providing instant payments, payouts gave a competitive advantage over their peers, and as such, they continue to scale operations with RippleNet, experiencing more than 400% volume growth since launching just last year.
That's good. I like 400%. I like this. I like this direction things are going in. I like the fact that Ripple and RippleNet is really leveraging, to grow their partnerships. But man, let's turn to some big news that's happening here in the U.S. There's something happening over in government.
Yeah, some really exciting stuff. I mean, Jeff and I often talk about the fact that, how many times have we said, listen, the numbskulls over in Washington, they're not really doing anything. And then a little bit of magic happens today, a little bit of clarity. And this is something that Jeff and I wanted to highlight this because it seems almost like a rare moment, right? It's like that shooting star, you happen to look up at the right time and see it sort of, gliding across. But it started out, Tom Emmer, who sits as the sub chair on this committee. Let's go ahead and play this because I think this is absolutely well done. Let's listen in here.
Mr. Chair, I too look forward to working with you.
Okay, you guys hear this okay, Jeff?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, perfect. Perfect. All right, let's listen to Tom Emmer, what he has to say here.
I appreciate you holding this hearing today, and I thank you, and I give a big thank you to our witnesses for appearing before the committee. I look forward to all of your testimony. Financial technology and cryptocurrency are the future of the global financial system. In general, fintech lowers the barriers to entry to the traditional financial system and offers all consumers, no matter where they are, the ability to access convenient financial services at low competitive costs. Cryptocurrency is no exception, as we have seen from the huge consumer demand for these innovative assets backed by technology that is permissionless, open, and private.
See that, Jeff? It's a pretty solid opening statement thus far, right? Open,
Emmer is strong. He's got a great grasp of the subject matter.
Yeah, it really does, and he's delivering it home. And of course, this was a hearing they held today. Happened in the morning, and they had some witnesses. They did cross a couple, ask questions and stuff. But let's listen in here.
But you know
Crypto
what? So there's the one thing that you have to observe. There's a distinction between members of Congress in terms of those that are very in favor of moving forward, policy and clarity for cryptocurrency, and those that are still seeking concern. And you have to really wonder where those other members, where their allegiance lies. Are they focused against crypto because it's too decentralized, it's too free, it's too open to allowing common retail consumers to make money, or are they attacking it because, they're getting paid big dollars from their lobbyists, kind of like Kelly Slade brings up, the Shermanator. Can't forget the Shermanator. He's one of those that's on the polar opposite of all of these things. But yet you have Warren Davidson, Darren Soto, Emmer, and there's a whole list of them that are on the good side. And it crosses party lines. So the mentality of free market isn't something that is supposed to be unique to one party. It's supposed to be there for all people. And it's supposed to be a bipartisan. We like free market. We like freedom. We like democracy. We like, this idea of decentralized finance to allow people to grow and do for themselves and take care of themselves. And Emmer, he's all these things that he's talking about, all kind of fit into that narrative. So
cryptocurrency allows people to transact with each other in real time across borders for very little cost in a way that is so transparent and verifiable that it maintains more trust, actually more trust than traditional financial transactions with.
Already saying right there, Jeff, just like at a few words, the fact that you can transact cross-border trust, you're building trust. So, it's very transparent. I love that.
The third-party intermediary. Most importantly, cryptocurrency and blockchain technology unlock access to opportunity. The open source nature of these technologies offer millions of Americans the opportunity to study the underlying code, develop blockchain projects, and launch their own businesses, all without having to ask anyone for permission. That's an incredible opportunity. Over the last few years, I've been fortunate to meet with many great crypto and blockchain innovators. The common refrain during our discussions is that they so badly want to develop their new crypto and blockchain ideas right here in the United States, but they don't because of continuing uncertainty with federal regulation and, perhaps more importantly, the lack of enforcement of existing laws and regulation. They're afraid to launch new projects that, for example, might classify them to be a, quote, money transmitter, even though their work has nothing to do with money transmission.
So
he's saying a lot of important things there, Chip. And if we let it run on, we're going to miss some of the critical elements.
Yeah, I mean, we can always stop it from time to time, but the whole idea of people would love in the U.S. to hire people, and he gets into it a little bit later. But I mean, this is only a very short video, but it's a beautifully well done opening statement.
Yeah, I mean, and he's getting into this idea again, like I was mentioning, free market, and allowing people the freedom to build and to develop companies, to build around the technology, to leverage this new technology to build more technology, to make money. And it can happen anywhere. But he said people are intimidated and afraid to do it because they don't know what the potential outcome is going to be based on an SEC gone a little bit haywire, potentially, no regulatory clarity, no upholding of the laws that are already on the books, which is also a little intimidating for new business. And if you're missing all of these basic elements, where do these companies go? Either that they never come to fruition, or they're going to go overseas if there's regulatory clarity someplace else. What is one of the differentiations of the United States from most countries in the world is the ease of opening business and doing business. It's not always easy. Sometimes there's certain, regulatory hurdles to go through, but overall, you can go online, you can set up your corporation, and you could do it all probably within about an hour. Yeah. You have your stuff, you can get your tax ID number, pay the money, you're up and running, you're in business. I mean, there might be some other hurdles depending on the type of business you're in. You might have to do things. You might have to get a business license put in your store. You might need to contact the fire department. It might be difficult to get, signage if you're
Fire
setting up a
department.
storefront.
All right. Let's
But I'm
let's
just saying,
let's listen
regulatory.
through.
But this is important. This is like,
Well, no.
critical
Well, but
stuff.
let's.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm losing
All
the
right.
plot on what he's talking about here. Let's
Oh
get
yeah,
through
we
this.
did lose the plot of it. All right.
Because I'm like, I lost my track of what he's talking about. Let's do this.
Oh,
Still, the thought of having to comply with an overburdensome state-based money transmission licensing system in the United States is too much of a challenge for these entrepreneurs to be worth their time and their investment. So they head overseas, where the regulatory compliance is more streamlined. I've also been told by two co-founders of a company who are in the midst of developing a new blockchain network that they wanted to hire American developers. But because there isn't a streamlined process at the SEC to determine what is a security, they couldn't pay American developers with their token. So they actually went out and hired a team of developers in Europe instead, where they can confidently comply with existing regulation. As I mentioned, fintech and cryptocurrencies are the future of finance, but we're missing out as a country because American entrepreneurs are still unsure of how to navigate our existing regulatory system. This means high-tech jobs are going overseas and capital formation opportunities for everyday Americans are being missed. All part of the chilling effect that comes when we do not answer the questions that industry leaders and consumers are begging for. Questions like, what digital assets are a security? What digital assets are a commodity? What digital assets are currency? Answering these questions will keep innovation here in America and unlock new opportunities for every American to access. To conclude, let's be clear that these things are already regulated, but we need clarity in application and enforcement of the existing laws and regulation. There are also areas where we can and should streamline our regulatory framework to ensure that we realize and benefit from crypto investment and innovation right here in the United States. I look forward to learning from the witnesses how we can address these challenges, and I yield back the remainder of my time.
nice. That was awesome.
That was well said.
That's
I
good
mean,
stuff.
he nails it. He nails every aspect of it. And this is clearly head and shoulders above a lot of the people in Congress that just don't understand it. And I even saw during that, when that was going on, was that Al Hastings behind him? Who's that behind him?
Yeah, that was.
So Al Hastings, there's one shot where he just kind of like rolls his eyes, looking at his papers. And this is what's
You know where he
wrong
stands. You know where he stands from an economic perspective.
from an economic perspective, completely zoned out. And
Unfortunate. Yeah.
And it is really sad. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. I saw a funny comment here.
Yeah, but watching Tom Emmer reminds me of why, we need to be in politics.
Which one's
man.
Dr. Evil? Is that you or is that me?
I don't know.
Dr. Evil, let the video play. That was funny.
Crypto Fitter's funny though. He said, "Sorry, I'm late. Was watching a faster growing channel."
Which crypto fitter? That would be any other channel. Number one. Okay, so that's doesn't really narrow it down. It kind of says like any other possible potential channel. Here, yeah. It's all about control by government. Says money bags right there.
And here we go. Here's the statement of the night. We can probably just end it right here after reading this statement. The Dog and Pony Show is a joke. Just pass the Token Taxonomy Act and be done with it. That's it. And that's exactly it. All this conversation. But look at this. You're seeing the separation of those that are starting to join that side of the Token Taxonomy Act. It's not easy. When we had Warren Davidson on here, you could tell he was up against a lot. So if you got Alcee Hastings, you got all these other guys, you got the Shermanator, you got all these guys that are going to be opposed to it. Maxine Waters. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? AOC. But then you get Tom Emmer, Warren Davidson, Darren Soto. Those are like the top three guys. They're amazing, right? I mean, what they're doing to take this space on and try to educate Chip, man, it would be Tom Emmer needs to be here with on the chain.
Well, we gotta get Tom Emmer on here for sure because he really has a good understanding. There was one other appearance today that we pulled for you guys, and this is Anthony Gonzalez. And again, so he kind of, I really like the direction that this is heading. The timing is right. It couldn't be any better right now. Yeah, let's pass the token taxonomy. Anytime I see something, you will see a tweet from me great, pass the token taxonomy, because that's what we need to talk about. But let's listen in on another short video from Rep. Anthony Gonzalez. And he's talking with it's not that long. It's I don't know. It was on Twitter, so it can't be longer than 2 minutes.
Just to my earlier point that this uncertain regulatory environment does choke innovation and pushes projects overseas, correct? Thank you. And it forces Americans to do things like use VPNs as a workaround. And I think you rightly highlight that this is a bad outcome for Americans.
That's correct.
Thank you. You also say that regulators are hesitant to get involved when relevant members are, your words, relevant members are hostile to crypto. Subcommittee chairs on this specific committee, they would qualify as relevant. I won't.
They qualify as relevant, but not hostile.
Right. Some potentially. So, assuming regulators are listening, and I didn't want to put you in that box there, but you did say it. Listening, I'd encourage them to listen to the full committee and not quote relevant members who say ridiculous things, like people should invest in the California lottery instead of cryptocurrency, and suggest that if it's possible to lose money, that some people are going to make money and others are going to lose money, that whatever that thing is, whatever that instrument is, its effective should be banned. And also people who suggest that because there are money launderers and bad people who use cryptocurrencies, and there are, we know that, that it should be banned. I would like to cite a statistic by Katie Hahn, who broke up the Silk Road scheme a while back. 99.9% of money laundering with fiat currencies goes unprosecuted. 99.9. So, the commentary around whether we should allow cryptocurrencies to exist on AML lines, I would ask, compared to what? Compared to fiat, where 99.9% goes unprosecuted. So I want to shift now.
Man, the guy's brilliant. The guy's brilliant. Think about, the stuff that, what he's talking about, man. It's the, same thing, spot on. Good question. Again, he gets it. It's all these naysayers out there, man, talking about, it's being used for nefarious purpose. The Shermanator, over and over and over again, the Shermanator comes out. Janet Yellen, same thing. How many of them are going to keep coming out and they want to ignore what goes on with fiat? I mean, it's ridiculous. I think there's an article in here that addresses that. I think we had an article on that. Yep. And hey, I just wanted to let Van Life Biker know that if you have fresh eggs, you can actually leave them out on your counter for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, we got in a whole big eggs discussion today on Twitter with Lionel from overseas, and I was like, man, since I was a kid, you always put eggs in the refrigerator. But then I was visiting my buddy in London once, and he bought these like little hen eggs, and he stuck them on top of the refrigerator. It's warm, and I got what? He's like, yeah, they're fine. They were like up there for the whole week, and I was like, you're gonna eat those? He goes, yeah, of course. And just for me, it was really weird. It was a really weird thing. Just didn't sit right. And they said, well, then somebody else came in and said, well, because of it depends how they wash the eggs, and if they're coated and they come from the farm, then they're okay.
To do with, yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I put bread in there. I put everything in the refrigerator because it just makes it taste a little better. And I've got 2 giant refrigerators, so it's fantastic. It all goes, anything that's food items except for the dog's food, refrigerator, Jeff.
I put bread in the freezer.
That works
fresh
too.
Bread, put in the freezer. Slices better.
You got to toast it.
It's good,
though.
and then my
we got down a rabbit hole.
My dog's food's in the fridge. Well, my dog eats ground beef and rice. My dog eats better than a lot of people.
Yeah, that's it.
So
someone here added comments. It's always so funny. It's like, I wish you could part the comments. Like there should be a way to sort of stick them in a queue. That way you can hit them, because then you lose them.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
So a couple of people were asking about Quincy, like when Quincy tomorrow night on Clubhouse. I'm going to be moderating.
Are you really? Wow.
I'm going to be moderating.
You're freelancing the whole
Well, it's just
Clubhouse.
I was sort of added to that because I'm an early adopter and stuff, but it's at 10 o'clock, Jeff. So I'm usually like, starting to wind down at that point. But just to let you guys know, Quincy will be speaking on there. He'll be talking, and you guys, everyone, everyone's been hammering him like, hey, come on, come on, come on. Just give him some time to breathe, man. Let him do his thing for a while. And I mean, he's everywhere. So, potentially maybe we'll get him on at some point. But I think right now at this kind of like let things go for a little bit. So any
Do
thoughts?
his thing.
So someone says, "Do you have any thoughts on Quincy?" Yeah, he's a bright individual with a lot of passion, which I admire.
And he's
Especially for
making
being.
YouTube videos, right? I mean,
Yeah, he's making YouTube videos, but being a developer, coming at it from a different aspect, saying a lot of the same
Cool.
things a lot of people have been saying, and then giving some new things that people maybe haven't been looking at it the same way. I like the coins that he's bullish on. He talks about XDC, talks about Algo, I believe, talks about XRP. Yeah, so I mean, the stuff he's talking about, I think it's good. I think it's good for the space, and I think it's good that a lot of people are getting excited, and it's bringing new people in. So to me, I think it's a net benefit for the space. You bring somebody in, and it kind of re-energizes it, brings a whole new crop of people, gets people energized again. I only see it as positive.
Great.
I mean, Jeff,
Yeah.
your thoughts?
Yeah, that's it. That's my thought.
This
Yeah,
guy
thank
says, "Big beatdown."
What
Says
you guys said.
the big beatdown, not on you, Jeff. I hope he doesn't give us a big beatdown. They love what you're doing. Keep up the positive vibes. That's what we try to do. Give positive
He's
vibes
giving
here.
a big beat down. A big beat down.
Somebody else had mentioned one of our favorite
No.
writers, Rosalind Layton, who was on that webinar with John Deaton last week, wrote her probably her best work, her best piece to date. It is phenomenal from start, middle, finish. There's no filler stuff in there. There's no word that doesn't belong. It all belongs. And we should probably jump into it, but not before we get to some other stuff first.
Yeah, let me throw
Probably-
this one up with my
Let's get to
screen
a couple other things,
participants.
but I do want
Here
to
we
sort
go.
of get into that.
Yeah, we definitely had to get into that. Let's get to
200
the 214 million XRP. Man, that's life changing right there. I put that on the thumbnail. 214 million XRP, not 214. It's 214 XRP. You're not going too far with that. But 214 million XRP. Man, what is that all about? What's going on with this? Try to get out. I don't know why it's on this thing with all these ads. No fun. Open it up on the wrong thing. So what is this? Look at this. Money is moved, right? Look at this. Crypto transfers. 3 massive XRP transfers. You see Ripple moved 150 million. Other exchange about 64, but you have Ripple, Binance, and a few other platforms moving some money around. What do you think is going on?
150 million shifted. 150 million. Often used for wiring XRP to third-party entities, exchanges, payment platforms, BitGo custody wallets. I don't know. It sounds like they're moving stuff around, like as usual, moving some stuff to exchanges, but it's a pretty solid. It says 150 million XRP is headed to China. That's interesting.
It's interesting, yeah, and it and to an unknown wallet right there. So I don't know where it's going. 150 going to China. Is it? I don't know. Let's see what it says. BitHub has unveiled that Ripple keeps moving XRP to the biggest crypto trading venue in China on a daily basis.
There you go. They're gearing up for something there,
Interesting.
Jeff.
Man, what's going on? Something's happening. When you see, you see this kind of movement, something's happening, right? You got the ecosystem. The ecosystem has got to live and breathe, and stuff has to happen. And all these things going on a global scale. We're talking about ODL adoption. We're talking about movement of the currency right here in the US. If you're on some of the exchanges like Coinbase, you can't even, on the retail side, you can't even touch XRP.
No, you can't. And but it is kind of, I mean, look at what's happened recently, Jeff, right? So recently, China chased all the miners out, right? They went to like Ukraine. A lot of them set up shop right here in the US. They went to Texas. A lot of them are heading over to El Salvador. And all of a sudden, you start seeing some other movement in there. So they started sort of kind of like the Bitcoin thing kind of, and then now you're talking about the biggest space that Ripple operates in right now is Asia. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
And you got one of the bigger players out there, China, one of their bigger exchanges. It kind of seems like they're doing something, right? It's hard to know. It's like weird to speculate, but anytime an exchange is going to be selling it, they need something to sell, right? You need market makers and takers. You need to be able to, fill orders on an exchange. I don't know. It's something we should keep our eye on because something seems like something's up there. I don't know. I kind of agree with that.
Something's going on. It's all good
Something's
stuff.
going on. Something
Something's
big.
heating up.
I forgot that
Heating
this is a
up.
little bit of. Forgot to play this funny earlier, but you remember when Anthony Gonzalez was giving his little speech? That guy was in
Oh,
the
yeah.
background checking the Bitcoin price. somebody put that up. I was like, so he was so clever on crypto Twitter. They're like, oh, he's checking Bitcoin. It's
People
like,
are
dude,
fast. They're
probably
quick.
not checking Bitcoin. He's just on his phone. He's probably on his phone. He's probably checking XRP. I mean, I don't know. But
Yeah,
there's
Shiny Robot just said that the UK is going to get rid of the 20-pound and the 50-pound note.
But wait
by
a minute. I thought
September.
they just came out. They thought they just rolled out a new 50-pound.
Maybe that's why they're getting rid of it.
No, but I thought they came. Oh, but are they getting a new one? Because where did I sell that like hoopla about a new
Oh.
50-pound note that they were talking about?
I don't know what's going on over in Ireland. Let's see. Darcy says, does crypto spread COVID when I send it to my account in Korea? The Irish government would tell me it does.
Yeah. I mean, main thing is, there should never be any lockdown. You always keep the pubs open. It's the first line of defense. Alcohol kills everything.
That's right.
And just keep the bars, keep the pubs open, man. I mean, people they want to, munch on some finger food and, have a little
And
drinky poo here and
Guinness
there.
solves everything.
Yeah. It solves everything. Look at this, Jeff.
Everything.
This is your
There we
sort
go.
of realm right here.
Oh, I like that. There you go.
Formula,
It started with
Crypto.com.
Indy, man. We saw the Indy car, then we saw the NASCAR, and now we're seeing Formula One. Look at that. Crypto.com.
That's
a
pretty
global
cool.
partner.
Isn't that? It's kind of cool, right? The fact that it's now starting to bleed over into mainstream. You got a huge worldwide F1 people that watch the Formula One, right? You got, and then probably bigger only in the States is really more the NASCAR circuit, but the Formula One is worldwide, right? It's a
Massive.
phenomenon. The fact that you're starting to like bring it into that different sort of like venue, that's adoption right there.
It's a big deal. It really is. Get it out there, and man, I like it.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, let's say it fits right in with Crypto.com's Visa card because it's the world's most popular card, according to them. It's available in over 30 countries. So if you wanted to have something that was global, worldwide, where you got a big fan base, Formula One is really kind of the right sort of advertising venue for them. Just getting that out there and having people be able to look at that. I use I've used Crypto.com. I think it's a pretty solid platform.
And how about, you have Crypto.com. How about the FTX arena in Miami?
Right. Well, there's some other news about the
Which is
FTX too that I have here as well. I'm gonna have to bring it
Go
up.
to ftx.us, and they got their name on the stadium in Miami. And I think we've talked about it before, but it's really cool. Let me just add it. This is it. Trade anywhere and anytime. It's great. Naming a stadium, naming sponsoring Formula One, sponsoring a car in NASCAR, sponsoring Indy. Man, they're all over the place. Crypto is hitting, like you said, it's hitting the mainstream. Go to the sports, and everybody sees it. It's great publicity. It's really good.
All right, let me throw this up here. I want to put this up here too because you brought up FTX, and check this out. Here is none other than Tom Brady. If you guys know Tom Brady, he's a guy that seems to get younger every year, which is really weird. But he's been playing American football, top dog, won the national championships, I believe 7 times. He has 7 rings. But he put this tweet up. He said stoked, like he's got the check out the eyes there, Jeff. He says he's stoked to partner with the SBF, Alameda, and FTX officials. We continue building the future of crypto. I hear we're headed to the moon. So I want to play this video. Unfortunately, because that's a Twitter video, I want to go ahead and actually play the video so you guys can hear it and see it. But Tom Brady says, yeah, here we're going to the moon. Let's check it out. Check out the video.
Let's put it up.
Damn, Tom. He's like, you know, in the background it says we're talking to the moon, and he basically nails the moon. He's got a rocket for an arm. Let's see that one more time. So yeah, so Tom's like totally stoked to be part of it. I think that's great. Again, FTX making some big moves. Be fun going down next time I go down to the arena to see that in person.
Yeah, so Catherine says, personally, I believe this space is going to bring new jobs and allow more disposable income for many people. This is going to bring back capitalism. Of course, capitalism has never died. And the one thing, regardless of, how it spreads out around the world, that capitalist survival mindset finds its way into all countries, regardless. Even under communism, people find a way to make money. They find a way to survive. It's really good. It's great.
Jeff is a car guy and a watch guy dialed. You know what's so funny? My brother's a watch guy, big time watch guy.
He's the real watch guy.
He's the real watch guy that knows all the watch YouTubers and channel and all that stuff. You know what? I'm like, he goes, why don't you wear a watch? I go, because I have the exact time on my iPhone. I don't need, he goes, yeah. I'm like, I go, they used to ride horses too. I don't need to ride horses. I just jump in my truck,
No.
But I know it's like a big thing. But yeah, Jeff,
I'm getting a call from the SEC.
Oh, good. Is it from 1933?
It is, yeah.
1933 securities law. They're gonna talk to you a little bit about it.
You just passed the Howey test. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not an egg guy. You should ask Jeff instead. I'm not an egg guy.
Yeah.
I do eat a ton of eggs, and
I don't eat eggs anymore.
Chiefs.
I used to eat eggs all the time. Would eat like
Yeah.
6 eggs a day. Then no eggs.
You don't eat eggs ever?
Nope, not anymore.
Really?
Yep,
I don't think I could live without it, man.
that's how I
Wow.
thought too.
That's really weird. No, man, it's like part of my. I can't give that up. I want to jump into this story. This right here. This is beautifully executed, well done article penned by Rosalind Layton.
Oh, here we go. That's
This is just. I mean, I don't think we'll be able to get through the whole thing, but I do want to pick out some points of this. And I listened to it twice because I was doing other things, but it's kind of fun to just click on that and listen to it. So they talk about
article.
What's that?
Good. It's a long article.
It's a long article. That's why I say she basically she goes into the whole idea of she participated in that panel, cryptocurrency and regulation by enforcement. It talks about when it was dropped. So Ripple offers a global payments platform for some 2 million users worldwide using the XRP token. The fully decentralized ledger, which she nails. Company ferociously disputes the allegations by making clear the regulatory agency allowed Bitcoin, billions of XRP tokens to circulate freely on a global cryptocurrency exchanges for 7 years without making such a determination, despite being asked in public and in private for that specific clarity for years. I mean, they've been all over, right, Jeff?
They have been. Maybe I should reach out to Gensler.
Reach out to Gensler.
See what he has to say. Does anybody have his number? See.
Jeff, did you know he used to teach a course at MIT about blockchain?
Did he really?
See, what I like the point she's making here is she talks about, and this is something that John Deaton has done very well in his response. SEC also alleges XRP's only utility, the only one, Jeff, was to be an investment contract in Ripple, and all XRP holders, they depend on Ripple's actions to obtain return on their holdings. Suit seeks to enjoin the registration of XRP as a security and precludes Ripple's executives from participation in the market. That's where they went wrong right there, because when John Deaton filed that the response, and he put so many use cases, ones that I even forgot about.
Yeah, I mean, with or without the use case, you have the XRP ledger, and the XRP ledger had nothing to do with an investment contract, but the XRP ledger had to have XRP, right? You have the XRP, you have the XRP ledger, you can build your technology. The SEC lost their way. They're kind of like the Shermanator. Maybe they don't 100% get it. Gensler staying a little bit hush hush on this whole thing. They're going after the case. And we don't have to get into the details of that, but man, it's these are important statements, really is. So
Well, especially she talks about when they filed that lawsuit, 50 exchanges either delisted it, suspended trading, the currency lost 75% of its value. And then, it talks about John Deaton from the website Crypto Law leading the challenge separately from Ripple, filed a writ of mandamus to challenge what he calls the egregious, inappropriate action of the SEC, and subsequently a motion to intervene in the SEC's case in the Southern District of New York on behalf of 18,000. But Jeff, we know it's way more than 18,000. It's hundreds of thousands of investors. That's just the people that put their name on it, right?
yeah, those are the ones that are joining yeah. I mean, and plus they'd be in the U.S., I would assume, but maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know. I think a lot of
Not
people
100%
signed
sure.
it. Well, I mean, but
Never asked
people
John that question.
I mean, they don't represent people from outside the country, but they don't appear to represent us either, Jeff, because they weren't looking out after us. She goes into some other stats here, which I think are pretty good. I think the big bulk of what she nailed was towards the end of this. She
Yep.
talks about Deaton's actions, events, conflicts to diminish the case, 2015, Ripple, Department of Justice, a lot of stuff we already know. She lays it out really well.
Look at that one in the middle, Chip, right there. And we've talked about this before, but in 2019, the SEC accepted Ripple's $30 million equity investment in MoneyGram to extend the money transfer via blockchain. Now, in order to do that, they had to have explained, here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do. Here's what is likely to happen after we do it. MoneyGram could sell it. It's going to do this, going to do that. And they outline it, and then the SEC says yes. Good job. Let's
yes.
move forward with that. We like it.
Yeah, the SEC said nothing in response to these events, which would indicate that XRP is not a currency and that Ripple was not in compliance, right? So they didn't say like, oh, whoa. They asked permission. They knew exactly how they were going to fund that equity deal that was going to be used as XRP. And then after what was that, 6 years in, maybe 5-6 years in when they did that MoneyGram? And she talks about this one too, that former chair Joe Gunfrest implored the agency to not proceed with the case, warning it would cause multi-billion-dollar losses to innocent third parties. Deaton also detailed the series of troubling, unseemly conflicts of interest with prior SEC leaders. But, I wonder if this is going to come up, Jeff. What do you think about this? You have a former chair. Grunfest actually wrote a note to Jay Clayton saying, don't do this. It's going to be irreparable harm to investors. Kind of like hint, hint, you're the SEC. You're supposed to look out after investors. How do you think? Do you think that'll carry any weight if they bring that up or if they call him as a witness?
I think it definitely does. I mean, it's going to have some, just one more that headed up, the SEC has a difference of opinion. We know what their opinions are. When it comes to official business, it's not as meaningful as if it was official capacity. Right. Hester Pierce has had lots of statements. Hinman's had statements. They've all had statements, but then it's always in their personal capacity, not in their official capacity. So how is he's going to, it's going to be a different, but it's still going to weigh in. I think it all matters. It really does. There we go.
So when I listened to this, when I listened to the webinar and I heard Carol go for it, I was like, you got to have, you had John Deaton, right? You had Rosalind Layton, and then you had Carol go for it. And she wasn't necessarily on team Layton or, Deaton, right? So she was sort of the protagonist where she was kind of like going back and forth, but she weighed in on the key question of the Howey test of whether a transaction qualifies as an investment contract defined by investment of money in a common enterprise with a reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the efforts of others. In this case, we're talking specifically about the effort of the company Ripple. And does XRP depend solely on that, from that effort, right? And she says for the SEC's purposes, such as determination, deems the asset a security, which subsequently can be subject to disclosure and registration requirements under the Securities Acts of 1933, Securities Exchange Act of 1934, talks about the SEC v. W.J. Howey Company, whose defendant was an individual at Citrus Groves. I think he already passed on by that. But anyway, And Florida kept a portion of his own use while selling the real estate contracts to finance the future growth. Goforth argued that the SEC is in the right with its determination. What? After all that, they're in the right with their determination, but displayed untoward behavior and timing. See, I don't know about this statement, Jeff. What do you think about this? That they were in the right with the determination? Seems off, right?
It doesn't make any sense. Like what are they in the right with? What determinate? So I guess, how do we break down his language? They were in the right with the determination of trying to identify whether or not they were selling an unregistered security and coming up with official guidance. Is that what he's referencing? Is that their determination? But then the timing of it doesn't make sense and their behavior doesn't make sense, right? So untoward behavior.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a weird, it's weird phraseology. It's one of those things you kind of expect to see in a novel.
When she said that, I was like, what?
Yeah.
she observed that the value of XRP
behavior. I can't get over that. Yeah.
Well, this kind of makes sense. In her mind, she observed the value of XRP is derived at least in part by the efforts of Ripple. And this is somebody that doesn't have a real strong idea what the use case is, because if Ripple, all she has to go back to Brad Garlinghouse's famous statement that if Ripple was to go away tomorrow, XRP would live on. It doesn't. Yeah, does it help because they did a lot of the, they did a lot with it, but no, it doesn't. In a decentralized.
But I think their point there is that it's not the existence of XRP that's in question; it's the value of XRP.
But is it though?
XRP could be 0.001 and still be in existence, but their claim is that its value is going to be directly related to what Ripple does. The question is, like you said, is it? Does it? And that's a big question, and that's what they're trying to resolve. And you can argue on their side that in part it does, but we know that all these great things happen with Ripple. They're doing this, signing contracts in banks. And what does XRP do? Nothing. So if the value is derived from their actions, all the positive news, sometimes stocks don't perform exactly as expected either, but you would think with all the positive news, things would move in a forward direction. And that never really happened. No. There was no direct correlation between the movement in the value of XRP and what happens at Ripple. So, I don't know how they analyze that and look at that, but we've never seen any direct correlation, at least, from our side,
Well, she said she was appalled by the SEC's treatment, waiting all these years to actually, get a ruling. And she says that, look, same thing could happen for Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're not safe, defined, redefined by the regulators. But she also says there's no what party are you going to go after when it comes to Bitcoin, right? So, she also says this.
Statement, though, Chip. It's a solid statement. Because why XRP? XRP could be a digital asset that's not a security that is sold as an unregistered security by Ripple. Didn't we see that statement somewhere?
Well,
but, and they can do that, right? But it's just
today's XRP though.
That means every asset, but then every asset falls into that. If you can take down XRP over that, you can take down virtually, I would say the majority of the assets. You can take down Ethereum, because you can claim that the whole idea of Ethereum was based on the foundation, the Ethereum foundation. Maybe you can take down XLM based on what they're doing at Stellar. And then you go one by one. You can tear them all down. You can go after the BNB coin, Binance selling an unregistered security. Go after the BTR coin. Go after the Cell token. Go after, it's endless. It just on
There's
and on.
About 6,000 we could name.
Yeah, it gets crazy at that point.
Well, she says it's notable that the new SEC chair, Gary Gensler, has not revoked the case. His preference was for Congress. Everybody wants to kick it to somebody else, but he could have gone in there and said, you know what, stop the presses, right? They don't want to stop this thing. And this is really a good observation. He could have revoked the case. Hey, revoke it. We got a new leadership coming in. We want to do things differently. Let's get the clarity before we start, because they're not performing really well.
How did Jake Clayton act?
What did it say? Acted capriciously. There you go. Because he dropped it on him. He drop kicked it when he was on his way out the door. I want to jump down here. Yeah, there's some interesting sort of parallels here, but again, I don't know. Berlow highlighted the many defects in the SEC arguments as well as the downsides for other parties, notes the lack of a working definition and limiting principle for the Howey test and how that has led the court to find, for example, in Grenader v. Spitz, that the shares in the private cooperative apartments were not securities. So he's going on giving some real examples saying, they all kind of, regardless of their pro or, against, they all have the similar thing that the SEC has really stepped in it and is not doing very well. The test laid out in the Howey case said it was a security as a product and it had its value determined solely through the efforts of others. See, that's the key thing, Jeff. Solely.
Go back up to the last sentence of that paragraph. Even in the Howey case, the court observed that the shares on offer were to the Orange Grove real estate, not to the asset of the oranges themselves. Think about XRP as the oranges. This would seem to be an important point relating to Ripple and XRP, as investors have bought currency, not shares in the company, which there's people out there that they have no idea what Ripple is. They're buying XRP.
They don't care.
Didn't do the research. They don't care what Ripple is. They see it in the top, whatever. They see movement. People are talking about it, loads of videos about it, and you get into it. And so you buy it. It's, are you buying it? But they're buying it because they're like, oh my God, all the money in the world is going to move on XRP. They hear that, all these connections and the escrow and the IMF, and you start digging into all these connections, people are going to get XRP because of people get fired up, but it's not always tied back to that. I don't know.
Yes, and this is another one, I think, a great point. While the SEC and lower courts have broadened that to any efforts by the product maker to boost the value of the product, there's lots of companies that make products that may be purchased as investments, such as those make comic books, baseball cards, make efforts for better product placement, promotion that boosts the value of their products, but that doesn't necessarily make their product securities. And I think that's a really solid point right there. And what really I believe the SEC is alleging is, if you go back to 2013, I think where they're really looking at this is that Ripple sold unregistered securities. Was it decentralized? No, not 100%, but neither was the Ethereum back in 2014, 2015. So they got to go into court and prove it, but they should have been really straight and said, hey, today's XRP, no.
But the SEC didn't really, Clayton really set it up, put it out there. Even the way they're, talking about how Gensler really wanted this to be sorted in Congress. It wasn't going anywhere. Look where we're at. Token Taxonomy Act, third time around. Look what Emmer, they're going through a conversation. You can see where the, half of Congress sits. Clayton knew that half of Congress was just, following the Shermanator, and they're kind of in la la land on this, And so when you know that, and you want rapid movement, you need something to happen. What's he going to do? And here, I don't know if he had that whole plot and planned and whatever, but that was the end result. It's like, here you go. Congress isn't going to do it. Here you go. Whoever my predecessor is, good luck, because I'm spiking the ball. And he did.
That's what he did.
And again, he got flack for it because but look at the guy. Then he goes and works in the crypto space. So what his beliefs are. He's hired into the crypto space.
He goes where the money is, Jeff, and he goes where the opportunity is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and exactly. This is what we're going to get. We're going to get the Ripple test. That's going to define this. Levy raised one of her previous articles on replacing Howey with Ripple test for crypto, where a more specific and relevant set of questions determine the status of a digital token. The demand for Ripple tests is evolving. Whether the SEC wins its case or not, the conversations move way beyond the SEC, not because of its credibility has been shaken by its startlingly bad arguments, right, Jeff? Bad. In the pretrial phase. The growing recognition that its treatment of XRP by the SEC has come to symbolize the U.S. government's fundamental misunderstanding of crypto.
I agree. Chip, what's your favorite pie?
I like coconut cream pie myself, but I saw this one right here when I see banana cream pie. But listen, it was, by the way, I'm going to have to bring, just for you, Sophie, I'm going to have to bring a picture of myself with Don Wells, who played Marianne in Gilligan's Island. I went to a celebrity fundraiser back in Palm Beach in the 90s. Who knows? We'll lose track of
Banana
time.
cream pie.
No, we talked about coconut cream pies. That's what we talked about. It wasn't
Nice.
banana cream. We did talk about coconut cream,
Tell you
but
what, man,
but I do have that
that's
picture
why.
somewhere. I will
bring
have
that
to show it to you.
next time. But the best pie, hands down, key lime pie.
Key lime pie, I'm not going to have to describe it. It's close between that and apple, I got to say, Jeff.
Well, yeah, and they're not all made equally. There's some apple pies that are
No.
amazing, some key
Yes.
lime pies that are amazing, others not so amazing.
But I mean, for us, key lime pie, we get it often because, but again, the whole thing with the key lime, it's like, you can blow a key lime pie the same way you can blow a really good apple pie.
That's right. Yeah, you
And-
put too much
And
sugar.
people don't know in the Keys down here in the Keys in Florida, there's a little tiny, it's a real tart lime. It only grows in one part of the world. It's a very small lime, but it's got a really sort of a tartness to it, way different than a normal kind of a lime. And that's what they use to make the key lime pie. And it's
They're
awesome.
good and they're awesome.
And this would be the time to say, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please consider doing so. And remember that we broadcast how many days a week, Jeff?
At least 6 days a week, Sunday through
Give or take.
Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah. And this Saturday morning, you'll be back in the helm.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you'll be back.
Saturday. You don't want to do Saturday again?
Not my thing.
Get up bright and early.
I do get up early, but it's just the whole
You don't
idea
want
of prepping and
a lot
doing
to
the
do
show.
in
It's like it's more like a later thing for me. Chill.
There's a lot to do in the morning. Yep.
Yeah, it's more one of those
We
things for
skipping
me.
the 4th of July. Oh, are we skipping 4th of July? I didn't think about that. Sunday
We don't
is the
broadcast on. Is 4th of July and Friday? Saturday.
Sunday.
Was it Sunday? I think we will probably skip Sunday if it's 4th.
Yeah,
see.
Sunday we're going to be at our neighbor's party,
Yeah, we're not
So-
going to be doing it on the 4th.
and we'll be drinking.
Yeah, so we're not going to be
Few,
sorry,
libation.
guys. We will be back on Monday night. Monday.
We're going to be back tomorrow. 'Cause tomorrow's Thursday.
We'll be back tomorrow. But I'm saying we're not going to do. We're probably going to take off the 4th. So there you go.
Yeah, and Connie's right. I should get a key lime pie. Now, if I can get a lime tree next to the lemon tree, then all you need is a little bit of gin and tonic, and you're all set. Or you get vodka tonic, get a bottle of vodka, get it like
And in
instant.
juice.
Yep, there you go.
Laid back. Got my mind on my money on my mind. That's right. Little Snoop.
Nice.
All right.
All right.
That's all we know, guys.
God.
Listen, have a great one. We will be back. Don't miss it tomorrow. We'll be back with a lot of new stuff, a lot of new interesting news to talk about and workshop together. And we'll complain about Congress. No, we actually were very pro today. They did a good job today.
I think we did a good job. Everyone talked about pie. Well, let's see. We talked about eggs.
I mean,
we talked
Congress.
about pie. And we even talked about Congress. Oh,
There you
and
go.
XRP. We talked about XRP too.
And so me.
Oh,
There you go.
yeah. All right. Well, on that.
The usual, sir. Please.
I couldn't resist, Jeff. I had to do it. I felt it was like time.
Please.
Blues. All right, man.
All right. That's how it goes. We'll see you guys.
On the next one.
Next one.
Chip
We're
and
out.
Jeff out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.